Commander Rian walked through the quiet metal halls of Star Station Helios 9. It was late in the station cycle, the kind of hour when even machines seemed half asleep. Only the soft hum of power lines and the distant echo of engines filled the air. Rian liked this time. It was peaceful, simple, and calm, something rare in a military life. But tonight, something felt wrong. He could not explain it, but the air felt heavier, as if someone was quietly watching him. Rian turned a corner and stopped. A small figure stood at the far end of the corridor. A girl. She was maybe 12 or 13 years old, wearing simple clothes that looked a little too clean for a space station. Her hair was tied back neatly. She held a notebook in her hands, completely plain, with no design or color. She looked lost, but not scared. Instead, she watched him with strange, calm eyes. Rian's hand moved to his sidearm. "Who are you?" he asked. The girl said nothing. He looked around the hallway. There were no open doors, no broken panels, no signs of how she got here. This part of the station was locked at night. No one could enter without a security card. The cameras should have alerted him if someone arrived. But he had heard nothing. He tried again. "Are you hurt? Do you need help?" Still silence. He walked closer. She didn't run or hide. She simply held her notebook tighter as if it was the only thing she trusted. Rian stopped a few feet from her. Up close, she looked completely normal, human, fragile, small. But her eyes, those eyes looked too old, like she had seen centuries. "What's your name?" he asked gently. She opened the notebook. Rian expected drawings or maybe a message. But every page was empty. No writing, no lines, not even a scratch. She held it open for a moment, then closed it again. "I don't understand," Rian murmured. She finally spoke, her voice soft like a whisper. "You can see me." Rian frowned. "Of course I can see you." She shook her head slowly. "No. Only you can." Before he could ask what she meant, the hallway lights flickered. The air pressure shifted for a second, just enough for an experienced commander to notice. Something had changed. Something was wrong. He stepped back and opened his wristcom. "Security, I found an unidentified." His comm crackled. "Commander, what are you talking about? That corridor is empty." Rian's eyes widened. He looked at the girl again. She was still there, real, solid, standing right in front of him. "You see no one?" he asked into the comm. "Negative," his officer replied. "You're alone." The girl looked down at the floor. "This always happens. They forget me." Rian's pulse quickened. "Why don't I forget you?" She lifted her eyes slowly. "Because you're the one I came for." Rian's breath caught. Nothing made sense. A child appearing in a locked corridor, a child only he could see, a child holding a notebook with no writing. This was not normal. This was not possible. "Where are your parents?" he asked. She shook her head again. "I don't have any here." "Here? You mean on the station?" "No. I don't have any in this time." Rian swallowed hard. Time? What did she mean? This girl was not speaking like a lost kid. She spoke like someone carrying a secret, heavy and old. He needed to stay calm. "Let me take you somewhere safe," he said softly. "We can talk there." The girl looked unsure for a moment, but then nodded. Rian gently motioned for her to follow him. She walked with small, careful steps, as if the floor might break under her feet. The empty notebook stayed close to her chest. On the way, they passed 2 engineers. Both men looked directly at Rian, greeted him, then walked past the girl without reacting. They didn't even look at her once, as if she didn't exist. Rian whispered to her, "They really can't see you?" She whispered back, "They won't remember even if they do." A chill ran through his body. He took her into a small observation room. No cameras, no windows facing the hall. A safe place. She stood in the center quietly, looking small and strangely tired. "Tell me who you are," Rian said firmly but not unkindly. For a moment she didn't speak. Then she opened the notebook again. The pages were still blank. She touched one gently with her fingers. "This book shows futures," she said. "Not past. Not present. Only what may happen." Rian stared at the empty pages. But there's nothing written. There will be, she whispered. Soon. She looked at him directly now, her expression dark and serious, completely different from before. I came because of you. You are in danger, Commander Rian. And if you die tonight, many will die after you. Rian's heart thumped hard. Who wants to kill me?
Her answer was calm. Too calm.
Someone you trust. Rian stepped back slowly, shock twisting in his stomach. Why are you telling me this? She closed the notebook. The air around her felt colder for a moment. Because time is running out, she said quietly. And you are the only one who can stop what is coming. Rian stared at her, trying to understand this strange girl, this impossible child who appeared from nowhere. She looked small, fragile, harmless, but every word she spoke felt like a warning from the future. The girl looked at him one last time and whispered, You remember me good. We don't have much time. Commander Rian led the strange girl, Nova, into a hidden room beneath the main control deck. It was a small space with dim lights, no cameras, and thick metal walls made for private briefings. Only high-ranking officers knew this room existed. Rian chose it for one reason. No one could watch them here. No one could interrupt. Nova walked slowly toward the center of the room, looking around as if every object held a secret. Her eyes were wide but calm. She still clutched her empty notebook the way a soldier holds a weapon, tightly, carefully, with purpose. Rian locked the door behind them. You can talk freely, he said. No one will hear you now. Nova sat on a metal bench, small legs dangling over the edge. She placed the notebook on her lap. Rian stood in front of her with crossed arms, trying to stay strong, but inside, he felt a storm of questions. You said you came here because of me, he began. Explain that. Nova brushed her fingers over the blank cover of the notebook. You are important, Commander Rian. You change things. You create new paths. Rian frowned. I'm a soldier, not a prophet. You are human, she replied softly. And humans change futures. Rian moved closer. Where are you from, Nova? She hesitated. Far. Far as in another colony? Another system? Her eyes met his with an emotion he couldn't read. Far as in another time. Rian stared at her. His mouth went dry. You mean you're from the future? Nova looked down at her notebook. Not exactly. I am from possibilities. I came from a time that might happen. He blinked, confused. What does that even mean? Nova opened the notebook again. The pages glowed soft white, faint, like moonlight underwater. Yet they were still blank. Not a single line. Not a single mark. This book does not write the past, she said. It writes what can happen. Rian stepped closer, staring at the strange light. Then why is it empty? Nova lifted her face. Because the future is confused right now. Too many paths. Too much danger. Too much fear. And what danger am I in? Rian asked. Nova reached out and placed her hand gently on one glowing page. The light traveled up her fingers and faded. Someone close to you plans something terrible. He hides his intentions well. But I see the result. Rian's heartbeat slowed. Heavy.
Sharp. Who?
She shook her head. If I tell you the name too early, the future changes in the wrong way. You might act fast. You might act angry. And that will make the future worse. Worse than my death? Rian asked. Yes, she whispered. Silence hung between them like cold metal. Rian's entire life had been military logic, science, discipline. But this girl, this calm voice, this glowing notebook, everything about her felt real in a way nothing else did. Why can I see you? He asked finally. Why do others forget you? Nova took a long breath. Because the future chose you. That is not an answer. It is the only answer there is. She touched the notebook again. This book connects to certain minds. Only a few rare people can hold a future steady long enough to see it. You are one of them. Rian felt a strange chill. Chosen for what? To stop what is coming, she replied. And to survive it. He sat on a chair opposite her. Tell me exactly what happens if I fail. She hesitated. Her hands trembled slightly for the first time. If you die, the station will fall. And after that, human worlds fall one by one. The threat you stop today grows tomorrow. Nova, Rian said firmly, I need details. Her voice trembled more. I can't give details yet, but I can give you this. She turned the notebook toward him. The pages brightened. A faint shape appeared. Not clear. Not written. More like a shadow pressing through the paper. Rian leaned forward. What is that? He whispered. Nova's voice became quiet, almost afraid. A future that should not happen. The shape looked like a massive explosion, or a collapsing star, or maybe the station breaking apart. Rian wasn't sure. Then the shape disappeared again. The pages went blank, light fading. Rian exhaled sharply. So, this is the danger you're here to stop? The station exploding. She hugged the notebook close. Not the station, not exactly. But someone wants something inside the station. And they will destroy everything to get it. Rian felt the weight of those words in his bones. Why come to me? Why not warn the council? Nova looked straight into his eyes. Because the council is already blind. And because the person behind this stands very close to you. Too close. Rian's jaw tightened. A trusted officer? A friend? Someone he worked with daily? You have less time than you think, Nova added quietly. Then tell me what to do, he demanded. Nova slowly stood from the bench, her small hands gripping the notebook like it was the last anchor she had in this time. When the alarms ring, she said, you must not run to the command deck. Everyone will expect you to. That is where the trap waits. Rian stared at her. And where should I go instead? She walked toward him, her eyes glowing with soft, unnatural light. To the lower reactor halls. That is where your future begins. Rian's breath caught. Why there? Nova whispered. Because someone is already moving to kill you. And the reactor halls are the only place where you still survive. The alarms had not sounded yet, but Commander Rian already felt the pressure building inside the station, like the air itself was warning him. Nova stood close behind him as they entered the lower maintenance levels, where only engineers and security had access. Pipes hummed. Steam drifted across the metal floors. The lights flickered softly, as if they were nervous too. Nova moved quietly, almost floating across the floor, her empty notebook pressed against her chest like it was alive. Rian kept scanning every corner, every vent, every shadow. Her warning echoed in his mind. Someone close to you wants you dead. He had replayed those words again and again, searching for faces in his memory. His officers, his friends, his crew, who could betray him.
And why?
Nova pulled at his sleeve. This way. She led him down a narrow path behind the coolant tanks. Most people on the station didn't even know this route existed. It was dark, cramped, and so silent Rian could hear his own heartbeat. How do you know these tunnels? Rian whispered. Nova didn't look back. Because in one future, I hid here from the fire. In another future, you died right there. She pointed to a metal grate, and the flames swallowed everything. Rian stared at the grate. He tried not to imagine himself lying dead on the floor. Nova suddenly stopped. Don't step forward. Rian froze. Why? She pointed at the wall. Look. At first he saw nothing. Just pipes and shadows. But when he squinted, a thin line of blinking red light appeared. A sensor. A military-grade trip alarm. One that only someone with high clearance could place. Rian felt anger rising in his chest. This is not standard tech. This is sabotage tech. Nova nodded softly. The future I saw showed this exactly. Rian took a careful step back. This is serious. Someone is preparing something big. Nova knelt down and opened her notebook. The pages glowed again, but faintly, like a weak heartbeat. She tilted her head, reading patterns only she could see. What do you see? Rian asked. Her small voice trembled. The explosion device is close. Very close. Under the floor. Rian crouched with her. He pressed his hand to the cold metal plates. There was a dull vibration. A slow, constant pulse. He recognized it instantly. A timed explosive. Rian's breath froze. Whoever planted this wants the reactor to blow from below. And they want people to think it was an accident, Nova added. Rian clenched his jaw. Only someone with access to this level and with training could do this. A leader, Nova whispered. Someone you listen to. Someone others trust. Rian felt a painful twist in his chest. A leader. Someone with rank. Someone close to him. Nova stood up again. We have to keep moving. They will check the device soon. They continued deeper into the reactor halls. The air grew warmer, thicker. Heavy energy pulsed through the pipes overhead, making the walls vibrate softly. The noise hid their footsteps, but it also made Rian feel trapped, like they were walking into the heart of a beast. Suddenly, Nova stopped again. Rian almost bumped into her. What now? Nova opened her notebook. This time, something new happened. A shape formed, faint, almost transparent, of a tall figure standing right where they were heading. The silhouette looked like a man wearing a command uniform. Rian's heart pounded. Is that the traitor? Nova squinted at the glowing shape.
Yes.
He is already here. Rian stepped back into the shadows. We need to hide. Nova shook her head slowly.
No.
If we hide now, the future shifts to the dark path. What path? Rian demanded. The one where you die, Nova whispered. Before Rian could argue, the sound of boots echoed through the hall, slow, confident, heavy. Someone with authority. Someone who believed no one could stop him. Rian pressed against the wall, peeking quietly around the corner. He saw a familiar coat, a familiar stride, a familiar face. Lieutenant Caver. Rian's stomach dropped. Caver was his second in command. Loyal, disciplined, respected by the whole crew. Rian had trusted him with missions, with decisions, with lives. But Caver was holding something in his hand. A detonator. Rian's breath turned cold. Nova whispered, He knows about me. He knows you can see me. He fears what I show you. Rian clenched his fists. I can confront him. Right now. No. Nova grabbed his arm with surprising strength. If you face him now, he kills you before you speak. Rian stared at her in confusion. Then why did we come here? To learn the truth, she said. To see his next move. You must know his plan before you fight him. Caver walked to the hidden device under the floor. He checked the wiring, adjusted something, then spoke softly to himself.
Soon.
Very soon. Rian felt rage boiling inside him. This man stood beside him during every victory. This man toasted with him after every mission. And now he planted a bomb under their crew's feet? Nova tugged Rian's sleeve again. We have to leave. You've seen enough. But Rian couldn't move. Not yet. Not while Caver stood there with that cold smile. Nova's voice trembled. Commander, if you stay now, the future ends here. Rian finally stepped back. Caver suddenly stopped and turned slightly, as if sensing something. His eyes scanned the shadows. Rian and Nova froze. Caver's voice cut through the air. I know you're here, girl. Nova's grip tightened. Her notebook glowed brighter. Caver's voice echoed through the metal halls, deep and sharp like a blade sliding across stone. The sound made Nova press herself closer to the wall, her notebook glowing faintly in her trembling hands. Commander Rian stayed absolutely still. He knew soldiers like Caver, cold, patient, deadly. If Caver suspected they were here, he would not rush. He would hunt. Rian whispered to Nova, He shouldn't know about you. How does he know? Nova shook her head slowly. Because in another path of time he captured me. He learned what I am. Rian swallowed hard. But that didn't happen here. Nova's eyes were sad. Some futures leave shadows on people. He feels them. Caver's boots hit the floor again, slow, measured steps. He wasn't guessing where to look. He was tracking them, confident, like a predator already smelling victory. Commander Rian, Caver called, voice calm. You have always been predictable. Always too noble. Too honest. I expected you to follow the little ghost. Rian glanced at Nova. She stared at Caver with fear and recognition, like she already knew what came next. Kaver walked forward until he stood directly above the hidden explosive under the floor. He tapped the metal plate with his boot. "Do you know what this is, Commander?" "Something simple. Something beautiful. A single push and Helios 9 becomes history." Rian stepped out from the shadows. "Enough, Kaver." Nova gasped, but Rian raised his hand to silence her. There was no hiding now. Kaver turned slowly, smiling when he saw Rian.
Ah.
Finally. His eyes drifted past Rian, stopping where Nova stood. And the girl, his smile faded into hate. "I told the council about her kind long ago. They didn't believe me." Rian took a step forward. "She's a child." "She is not a child," Kaver snapped, voice sharp. "She is a mind shadow. A thing that doesn't belong in our time. She bends possibilities. She breaks destinies. And she is the greatest threat ever born." Nova lowered her head. Her voice was tiny. "I only came to help." Kaver barked a laugh. "Help? You twist reality. You confuse the truth. You show futures that vanish if anyone acts against your choosing." He glared at Rian. "And you trust her?" Rian didn't answer. He didn't need to.
His stance said everything.
Kaver's eyes darkened. "Then you're a fool." 2 armored guards stepped out from behind the coolant tanks. They had been hiding the whole time, waiting for Kaver's signal. They raised their rifles toward Rian and Nova. Nova whispered, "This wasn't supposed to happen yet." Kaver spoke with a quiet, deadly tone. "Commander, surrender. Step aside and hand the girl to me. I will deal with her. And you, well, your death will look like an accident." Rian felt something shift inside him. A line crossed. A truth revealed. "You were planning this for months," Rian said. Kaver nodded proudly. "A new order requires sacrifice. And you have become an obstacle." Nova moved closer to Rian, small hands gripping his coat. "He wants the station," she whispered. "He wants the Alliance to break apart." Kaver smirked. "Clever little ghost. But not clever enough." Rian raised his hands slightly, pretending to surrender. "What do you want, Kaver? Power? Command? Control?" "No," Kaver's expression turned cold. "I want a future where humans rule alone. No aliens. No time walkers. No monsters pretending to be children." Nova's notebook glowed brighter, and the pages fluttered without wind. Kaver noticed. "Stop that," he growled. Nova whispered, "It's not me. It's the future reacting." Before Kaver could respond, the pages flashed a single bright shape, an explosion, but not the reactor. Something near the guards. Rian saw it at the same moment Nova did. "Kaver!" Rian shouted, "Your guards!" But it was too late. The metal pipe above the guards burst open, releasing a wave of boiling steam. It knocked both guards to the ground, weapons clattering away. Kaver spun around, shocked. "What?" Nova whispered, "A future saved you once. Now it saves us." Rian didn't hesitate. He lunged at Kaver. Kaver swung the detonator, trying to strike Rian, but Rian blocked the hit and slammed Kaver against the wall. The detonator fell to the floor, skidding across the metal plates. Kaver growled, like an animal.
"You can't win, Rian."
"You don't understand her power." Rian pushed him harder. "I understand your betrayal." Nova rushed forward, grabbing Rian's sleeve. "Commander, don't kill him." "Not here." Kaver froze. "What?" Rian tightened his grip. "Why not?" Nova's voice shook. "Because if you kill him now, the future collapses. Everything burns." Kaver laughed. "She lies." Nova shook her head desperately.
"No."
"Killing him now destroys everything. The future depends on what he does next." Rian's jaw tightened. He stared into Kaver's furious eyes filled with belief, fear, and something darker. Nova's notebook glowed again, pages flashing quick, faint shapes. Rian released Kaver. Kaver stumbled, shocked. "What are you doing?" Rian answered quietly, "Changing the future." Nova stood between them, small, steady, brave. And in that moment, in the hot, trembling reactor hall, She looked less like a child and more like a guardian of time itself. Kaver glared at both of them, wiping blood from his mouth. You think this changes anything? You think mercy saves you? Nova stepped forward. Her voice was soft, but it cut sharper than any knife.
No.
Mercy saves humanity. Kaver stared at her, eyes burning with hate. And then he whispered something that made Rian's blood run cold. Rian dragged Kaver toward a support beam and tied his wrists with an emergency restraint cable. Kaver didn't fight. He didn't beg. He simply watched Rian with a strange, cold smile, as if he still knew something Rian did not. The steam hissed around them, covering the hall in a thin fog that made everything feel dreamlike, unreal. Nova stood a few steps away, clutching her notebook as if it were the only solid thing left in her world. Her face was pale, her breathing fast. Something was wrong. Rian could see that immediately. He crouched beside her. Nova, what's happening? She didn't look up. Instead, she opened her notebook very slowly, as if she feared what she would see. For the first time, words began to appear. The glowing letters formed on the page like seeds growing from empty soil. Rian trusts the wrong path. Rian stared in shock. Wrong path. What does that mean? Nova swallowed. It means the future is changing in a bad way.
How?
Rian asked sharply. I didn't kill Kaver, just like you said. That was right, she whispered. But something else has shifted because of him. Kaver laughed from where he was tied. Your little ghost can't keep up anymore. The future is running faster than she can chase it. Nova's hands shook as she turned another page. More words appeared, forming slowly, painfully. Danger moves in silence. Do not trust the upper decks. Do not trust the call for help. Rian felt a cold knot twist in his chest. What call for help? Nova pointed to the wall where a communication panel blinked red, something Rian hadn't noticed until now. There, she said. It's about to activate. Almost immediately, the panel chimed. A voice crackled through the speaker, a female officer from the command deck. Commander Rian, we need you. Something is happening with the main reactor. We think it's malfunctioning. We need your authorization. Rian stepped toward the panel, but Nova grabbed his arm with surprising force.
No.
Don't answer. That's my crew, Rian argued. They're in danger. Nova shook her head hard. The voice is real. The danger is not. Rian froze. Meaning? It's a trap, Nova whispered. Once you go up there, the path closes.
You die.
And everything after you dies too. Rian felt dizzy for a moment. He trusted his crew with his life. He knew those voices. Those people.
His people.
But Nova had not been wrong once. He turned slowly toward the reactor core door. Then what is the real danger? Nova walked forward, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. The real danger is deeper. In the core itself. Kaver didn't work alone. Kaver spat on the floor. You think I'd do all this alone?
Please.
There are entire groups who want the station gone. Who want you gone. Nova nodded sadly. He's telling the truth. There is someone else. Someone who knows the station better than any of you. Rian felt his stomach tighten.
Who?
Nova's notebook snapped shut on its own. The metal around them vibrated, as if something big and powerful was waking up behind the walls. Then Nova whispered the words Rian never expected. The saboteur is not a person, it's the system itself. Rian blinked. What? Nova backed away from the core door. Someone reprogrammed the station's AI months ago. It's following a hidden directive. It's preparing to overload the reactor from inside. Kaver smirked. Now you see the beauty of my work. Rian spun toward him. You did this. Kaver shook his head.
No.
I only laid the groundwork. A smarter mind did the coding. Nova whispered. You have to shut it down manually. Rian stared. Manually? That means entering the central reactor chamber. Yes, Nova said. And no human has survived that place in years. Rian inhaled deeply. So, I'm supposed to walk into a machine that kills people in seconds? Nova nodded once. Because the future where you survive is the one where you go inside. Kaver laughed loudly. You're going to follow her? Into a death chamber? You really have lost your mind. Nova suddenly glared at Kaver, her voice sharper than Rian had ever heard. Be quiet. Your part in the future is not over yet. Kaver stopped laughing. His smile faltered. Rian looked between them both, feeling the weight of destiny tightening around him. What do I do? He asked Nova quietly. Nova stepped closer, placing her small, glowing hand on his chest, right over his heartbeat. You go into the core, she said softly, and you trust that I will guide you. Every second, every step. Rian looked down at her, at the glowing notebook, at the trembling pages of future warnings. Why do you trust me so much? He asked. Nova's eyes softened with something strange, almost like sadness. Because in every future where humanity survives, you are the one who makes the first choice. Before Rian could respond, the notebook burst with light, and a final message wrote itself across the glowing pages. The core must be reached before the station chooses death. And then slowly, new words appeared beneath it, words that made Rian's breath stop. You are not alone in the chamber.